Vendors, cool. Happy to see you, however long it is. And for those of you who don't know, we go live on Facebook on Claire Cooley's profile. We also go live on her YouTube channel, which is The Creativity Show. We are live on her Patreon, which is patreon.com/Claire Cooley. We're also on The Creativity Show's Twitch channel. Any of those places where you find us, please drop a comment, say hi, tell us where you're tuning in from, and share with your friends. That's a great way to help us build the community and keep it all going. And your comments and questions give us an idea of what's working, what's landing. Maybe any questions you have, let us know what's not making sense. It's a great way to help us learn how to make these live streams more fun. Today is going to be a guided art experience with Claire Cooley. We're going to do some art stuff. And once again, before we get started, a way that you can support this channel is by checking out her Patreon, patreon.com/Claire Cooley. I've got a QR code right here you can scan and easily get there. You will get access to all of her Stencil SVG designs that you can download for free once you become a member. Another way to help out is we've got a QR code up here that'll take you to the PayPal page to donate. That just helps us keep going. You can also send stars on Facebook. That's fun. All right. One last thing I'll say is check out my mother's memoir, Incandescence Rising Above Darkness. It was called an instant classic by Serena Catania, the co-founder of Sundance. And now Claire appears to be ready, so we're going to switch over to her.
Oh, you have.
We hear you. Go for it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm Claire Cooley. That was Bodie Werner, my son, the techie in the duo here. He named us.
To your mouth if you have the mic.
Is this working?
That helps.
Okay. So he named us Mother Son Productions when he asked me to collaborate with him, and I'm so glad that he asked me. I'm so glad that we're collaborating. We have very different, very complementary skill sets. I'm a hands-on, make anything I want in my life, pretty much everything except for a car. I have either designed, made, and he's Mr. Technicals, the part that I'm maybe never going to be great at, though I am learning here and there. And I'm grateful for his instruction. I'm giving him instructions on these last live streams about how to start drawing. And he's done his first hare, his first fox. Today he's going to do a turtle in front of you. And I'm going to just be a guide. As a creativity coach for the last 50 years, I've helped a lot of people find their inspiration and increase their connection to their imagination and their courage to share their creativity with themselves and others. It's very fulfilling, it's life enhancing, it's even healing. As we express emotions, we stimulate our immune system. As we feel, and creativity is a great way to feel any and all feelings in a safe, respectful way, we stimulate thoughts. So it makes us healthier, smarter, it enhances our life, everything good about it. I'm all about collaborating creatively because we have some really challenging issues on planet Earth, and the more of us who can access our passion, our feelings, our hope, our love of the planet and all the life and resources on it, the better chance we have of addressing these significant challenges. So be creative and be collaborative. That's what we're doing. So let me start with, can they see the 4 seasons here on the mantle?
Yes.
Okay.
We have that video prepared when you're ready.
Okay, so Bodhi's going to show you a video of this in progress. It is not done. I'm thinking Thursday I'm going to detail the foreground with fir branch for winter, flowers for spring, grasses for summer, and maple leaves for autumn in front of you. But I've been sharing this in progress, the Four Seasons, Essence of Everything study. So I can show you my way, which isn't my way. Your way is your way. Everybody, every artist, creative has their own way, but we can learn and be inspired by each other. So that's what I'm hoping to share with you is inspiration to follow your own instincts, feelings, your own passions, what inspires you. And after Bodhi shows you this really fast couple-minute time lapse of this Four Seasons in progress, I'm going to show you some of my first drawings, and then Bodhi's going to work on his turtle in front of you. So let's go for that. Okay, so this first test I did that's you'll see after this couple minutes is a horizontal study of all four seasons in one piece. And I think that verticals, and I go back and forth. I almost always have more than one piece going at a time so that I can get what I call perspective breaks, objectivity, by stopping and working on something else if I still have work energy, and coming back to it with a fresh, open mind and heart. So I like to leave what I'm working on in different places around the house so that maybe I'll see it first thing in the morning and not even be thinking about it. And I'll see, oh, I want to add that, or I want to do this or that to it. So not to, art is something we do for love. So we use our mind, and in fact, feelings happen in the limbic core of our brains. So they're all connected, but feelings and our analytical mind are different. So in my opinion, art is best. Analytical mind follows the feeling part of the mind, where the passion can come from. And we feel, and we all through feelings. So that's what I can share. Music doesn't matter. I want to come use the overhead camera to show them some of this early stuff I did, and then we'll work on your turtle. Okay, turn it on and come on out. So here's a little turtle. I'm going to get closer.
It's not going to change. The focus is down on the table.
Oh, so see, I'm not the technical one.
So I can get this camera closer if you wanted to.
I don't think so.
I wanted to show them closer. It would be this camera.
Okay. Well, is it working?
It's looking good to me.
Okay, so this little turtle I did so long ago that's when I would just, in my shire about my art, I would just, my little initials that looked like a little bug on the paper. And here's one of my first drawings as the turtle was. And I'm going to show you, well, that's actually a guy doing chair yoga. And
It's
Yeah.
in focus on the table. So.
Okay, so leave it on the table. And so I started with fossils, and here's an. I've always loved minimalism, so we have some very simple. And let us show you. I started, as I've said before in live streams, with Sumi brushstroke because it was a beautiful meditation. And then I came to Duluth. I thought I was passing through, but nine people in one day said you should stay and teach. And so I did. And I learned how to teach by teaching, what I had to teach by teaching. But I missed the birds. So here's a pen and inks. Can they see that?
That one's really light, so we might need to come in with this other camera and make some.
Do you want me to turn it around or anything?
Sure.
Tell me, I'll tell you what works. Should I put it?
Just rotate it.
So what I tried to do is I assigned myself, when the birds left and I missed them, I went to the library and got as many bird books as I could check out, and I decided to do lines that looked like they could fly. So these very minimalist pen and ink done on typing paper that were my very first drawings. We're not going to go through it, the whole thing, because there's a lot here. Oh, that one.
Do they have the species name on them?
Some of them do. Going to try to read that? It's probably the
Just
Latin.
upside down. Yeah, it looks like it is the Latin name. Cool. So do you want to show more of these? Or? Yes. So she wrote the Latin name on the very edge of the paper for some of these species.
Can you read that one?
Let me show it to the camera. That again is upside down from, let's see, Bronto canadensis.
So, not that I'm a scientifically inclined person, but I put some of the species. So after I did, and then here's some pointillism. After I did a bunch of birds, lots of them, then I did what I call limb line. I went down to the plant conservatory down in the Twin Cities and sat there drawing lines that look like, this one is called line growth.
Nice.
So then I did a bunch of plants. So I missed, that's a nice one here. I missed the birds and the plants in the winter. So that's one of the wonders of creativity.
You can see your signature's getting a little bit more bold.
Oh yeah, bit by bit. And now it's an eccentric woman's signature. By now in my life, it's just, it's like I'm dancing across the paper. So, so we're not going to show you all these because there's too many. But I wanted to share my particular process. Then the pencil that I showed you first came next. First was Sumi brushstroke to learn how to breathe through the instrument, through the brush or the pen or the pencil or paintbrush, whatever was the tool, to relax and move through it. And that's why the pen and ink turned out to be very possible. These were not sketches. I didn't do pencil lines first. I just went for it because the relaxed firmness that the Sumi brushstroke lessons taught me really helped with the pen and ink. Then I did pencil because it had the shading. And I did pencil black and white for a long time before I started with color. And then my 10-year-old roommate at the time, Zem, one day she answered the door and said, she can't see you now, she's doing color. And she answered the phone and said, she can't talk to you now, she's doing color. She decided that was the day I should start doing color. And when a 10-year-old is that confident, you got to listen. Or at least I did listen, thank goodness. And I started color that day. And I've never looked back. I still love black and white, but color is, like I like to say, nature's mood elevator. Okay, so let's move on to guiding Bodhi through his first turtle. Let's take these off the table and let's show them your first couple of creatures here. I'll just set those over there. Here's his. Those of you who have been here for all of these, this was his first, and this was Sumi brushstroke, bamboo. Then he did his very first bird and branch. Let's put that
Not so bad.
Put it down, and we don't. Yeah, that'll work. You put it where it works. So this was his first bird, and then the reason I'm loving, besides I do love to help other people find their own inspiration and the confidence to express it creatively. Here's his first colored pigmented bird.
This is the first color drawing I've done in this series.
And then the next thing he did was a hare.
So you can now these smaller drawings.
Okay, so then there was the hare, and then last live stream was the fox, and today he's going to do a bigger turtle. And I'm going to, I worked with him and did a rabbit and a fox, but today he's gonna.
Grabbing my turtle picture.
What size do you want to work? This size or bigger?
You're the teacher. You decide what do you think is best.
I think we're going to give you a larger piece of paper, drawing paper, because the turtle's got, though it's got a simple anatomy compared to a lot of creatures, it's got a lot of patterns, and so we want to make sure that you put him large enough. The things that I would suggest to anyone, you and anyone listening, is make sure there's space around your whatever creature, object you're ever drawing, so you don't go off the edges of the paper.
Okay.
Give yourself space. And because there's so many beautiful patterns in this turtle, bigger I think is good.
All right.
Then the next thing I would suggest is that everything is a little more interesting if it's not dead center. So the center of the turtle you don't want exactly in the center of the paper. So and the biggest shape first, and just the shape. Try not to see the patterns or the details. Just soft lines, very faint lines, and do basically the shape of the shell. And the shell, is connected above and below. So one big shell, and then we'll figure out the head and the legs. That's getting a little close with that leg sticking out to the to the edge over here. You want to make sure that there's some. So give some space around it.
Don't put them in the center, but don't get too close to the edge.
Right. Have breathing room around your creature. Shoes on.
All right, got to get your comfy art shoes.
So another thing you can do while drawing is you can take your pencil and can they see this that you're looking at? Yes. So you can go, okay, the leg is about the same as the neck and head coming out. So that can give you some, yeah, I'm not using.
Sure, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so you can use your pencil as a measuring device to try to get, the first thing is the shapes and the proportions. Just big shapes first, no detail, just the. And try to get the curves where you see curves, and we see a this guy's got a kind of a little point under the shell in the center, but then it goes in and out, concave, convex.
Those are the words.
Sometimes finding the right word is vexing.
Yes, indeed.
And then when you have lines that aren't going to be used, if this one is obsoleted, we can just get it out of there, not to confuse. And a brush is always good because our hands have natural oils. Sometimes I wear my little fingerless gloves to not get oils on it. So staying light, sketching shapes, proportions first before any detailing, I would suggest.
Okay.
You can kind of, mark where the.
And then we can't actually see his back right leg on the other side here, but it just feels like that's kind of where it touches down over there.
All right, so now go for the shapes and where there are curves and there aren't any real straight lines. Maybe there will be in the patterning, but get the curve, whether it's curving to the left or right, down or up. Try to get those in there if you feel like the proportions are good.
I think so.
I feel like his shell comes over and then kind of comes down. It's kind of like a helmet shape almost.
Yes. More like that.
That's a little exaggerated, but yes. But that's good.
Not so much about getting the real look of the shell as much as getting the way it feels.
It's the feeling is what you're going for, and the photorealism drawing is is a skill, and it's got value, and it's applicable to some situations. And but in my opinion, the thing that makes art powerful, meaningful is let's not get too into shading before we get all of our shapies.
Yes, if I wanted photorealism, I'd stick with this photo.
That's one way you can do, and artists do trace, project slides or photographs on the wall and trace, and there's some people can draw photorealism. I've done some drawings that look like photographs, but generally I prefer to do the feelings that I get from the creature or the environment is what fascinates me, inspires me, more than the actually, not. I don't need a scientific drawing. That's not my thing. I sometimes call my landscapes spiritual landscapes. It's like the spirit of the place or the spirit of the creature is what interests me the most. All right, well, he's already starting to get some movement, and how this leg is on the ground, this one's off the ground, this one's reaching toward the ground with its toes above.
Yeah, he's clearly in motion.
Right, which is really a cool thing when lines can impart feelings and motion and all that. It's kind of it is magic. And in fact, while you're working on this, I'm going to go get the drawing that is the one I did when I fell in love with drawing. I was just doing what I felt like, experimenting, and then this gorilla looked back at me, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, periodically here and there." And in fact, I did it every day for 5 years after that experience.
Yeah. Well, I can see why. This is very, very satisfying and meditative. It can be very meditative. And it's just about giving yourself the time to let the image come out, not diving into the fun part of detail too fast. Because it's very satisfying to give it hard lines and detail and to really see it. But by having patience and slowly bringing more and more definition, that's how I spend the least time having to erase and start over. It's by starting really soft.
You want to put this where they can see the gorilla?
Oops, got a pencil stabbing. Are you all right?
No, it was my hair caught in the frame.
Okay. Yeah, there's the gorilla.
When that guy looked back at me, I was visiting my younger sister, and it was smoggy where she lived, and so I didn't want to dance like was my usual creative expression. I wanted to be more still, so I started drawing. That's when I started using a pencil. And this happened on the 9th day of drawing, and that's when I went, wow, this is mysterious and magic, and I'm going to enjoy it for the rest of my life. So then
Beautiful.
I wanted to show another that is just pencil. Let me take that from you.
You could hang it on the C-stand if you want to keep it, and I could reframe the shot or not.
It's all right.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. Mist and Mountain. Check out You can find both of these on CLARECOOLEY.com. If you want to go right to the web store, go to CLARECOOLEY.com/shop. CLARE is spelled CLARE.
And Bodhi, thank you so much for making that web store for me, or I wouldn't have it. And learning how to make museum quality numbered and signed prints here at the Emerald Lady. The Misty Mountain was our large print, and then we make them medium and small.
The large prints are 13 inches by 19 inches, and then we have medium and small as well. If you want other sizes, send us an email.
So though art is the profession that we do for love, that doesn't mean we don't appreciate getting paid for it. And I've counted recently that I've done at least 30 different kinds of jobs in my life, on the way to this time in my life where I get to do my art full time. So I've always done what I needed to do to pay the bills, and art for love, and now I get to do art full time, which is really a real gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful. And partly because I have a son who's made a web store for me and makes videos, and including what we're doing right now, that I got a grant to do these live streams, and so all of that I couldn't have done without help, but we all need help. And thank you to the Minnesota State Arts Board for the grant to do these live streams, and
the Arrowhead Regional Arts Council.
Right.
As well.
Right. Looking good. I would say, before you get too much into the patterning, which you're doing great, is I would get the bottom of the shell and his legs. I've decided it's a him. A little clearer before going too much further with the pattern. It is part of the reason I almost always work on a number of paintings or drawings at the same time. Even if I'm writing stories or poetry, I usually have a number going so that I can, if I'm not sure, I'd go to something else and come back. And that way I get to keep working, which it isn't intoxicating. It's like a natural high stepping into our creative flow, medically documented, increases our happiness. So we want to keep going. So my solution is to have a number of things.
So it's a little hard to tell sometimes the difference between the patterning and then the actual shape of the shell.
Well, we know pretty much that the legs and the neck and the tail come out of the shell, but the shell is, the top and bottom are very connected. There's not a gap between them. That's why they're so...
The place that they're connected is just on these two sides, though.
Right.
So there's a big hole where the head and front legs come out, and then a hole. I think there might be a hole for each leg and a hole for the tail, or in the back it's one big open where the tail and legs come out. Well, I'm sure
there's a number of different turtle shell configurations, but this one, if they couldn't retract their head and legs into the shell, then they're pretty tasty. They make yummy turtle soup, and and a lot of animals would love to eat turtles, so that their shell is their protection, because they don't really have any way to fight back unless it's a snapping turtle, and they can snap.
Well, you can see this guy. I'm giving him a little bit more of a formidable beak, but
I noticed that, but it's your
it's my prerogative.
yeah, you get to. You're
It's
the
my
artist.
turtle.
He's your turtle. He's your creativity. So
Well, you can see they're dinosaurs.
they are very well, and they are some of the longest living creatures because they have such a slow metabolism.
They teach us to just slow down and enjoy
Yeah.
the scenery.
And they are very, they can pull into their shell and be safe. They've got their home on their back.
Mm-hmm.
It's a clever design. It's obviously worked.
They're little amphibious nomads.
All right. Okay, now I think you're getting there. So let's go for the big shapes in the shell. You started those, so I would take the biggest lines first, and you got that, and then
So it's kind of got this brim of the hat that goes around, and then
Yeah.
it's got little square-ish
and
sections
it's got
in it.
these long ones, and they go this way here and that way there. So you want to get that in there.
Yeah, they're basically like these ridges that go up and then over the back. And then I kind of just added an extra one there to give the sense of it.
And don't they kind of go that way here?
Yeah, I feel like they should. Like one should go up and then skadoink
Mm-hmm.
across the back here.
Okay.
And
Yes, and that's giving it a that just putting that line this way gave it a more of a dome.
Mhm.
So another one that way, give it a dome. Nice.
And we'll do him a little light and in his
Nice.
domicile.
The domicile.
We can do a light one.
I wonder if the word domicile came from turtle domes.
I've never heard anybody refer to them as turtle domes before.
Yeah, probably not. Okay, so these guys can get their own. Some of them kind of just go up and don't necessarily reach the top. That's what my eye's saying. So
Yeah, these ones didn't really have much lines to them, but we'll say that they go up like that.
Okay, now why don't you give them the stripy? Give them the width.
Coloring.
Well, the width. No, we're not coloring in yet, but the width that they get, meaning that this yellow line in there has a width.
That's the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So make like a color pattern.
I would say what I'm saying is there's a width to them.
Mm.
So
Right, I was looking at the ridge of the shells.
and you can put those in.
Okay.
So I would give the stripes a width by having a line on the other side, and then I would give the horizontal lines. You're doing the vertical lines, and give those ridges. Your heads in. Let's get you where you.
There, thank you.
It's pretty subtle, but
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so where you're, make these kind of the yellow lines, the,
Okay, yeah, I've noticed that the actual lines of the shell are not the yellow lines. Not that they care, the people who are watching, but the shape of the shell and the pattern that's on it don't necessarily correlate. But I think it would be a little bit too detailed and maybe get messy looking if I try to.
always, in my opinion, is always go for simple first. And then you get more complicated if you feel like it. It's your art, you get to. But starting with the main shapes, the main patterns, and then show how much detail you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So those yellow areas look like stripes, and
Yeah.
nice.
So I'm kind of doing the shape of the shell, and then then the pattern.
Right.
Do you think that works?
Yes. The shapes, where you put it on your paper or on your canvas, whatever you're working on, or your wall or your wood sign, whatever, where you put it on there is the composition, and then the shapes, the big shape, the whole thing next, and then the shapes within the shapes, and then you start the patterning.
Mm-hmm.
But you are giving him, it is feeling very three-dimensional in the dome of the turtle's domicile. I'm gonna have to, does anybody know out there?
Yeah, I got to check the comments in a sec here. I hope if you are watching that you're getting inspired to follow along. Draw yourself a turtle or something,
Yeah, well, it's this, having you drawing these things you've never drawn before, and my reduction of how to draw. We can only teach what we know, so I'm just suggesting what I do, and anybody could have their own way. And certainly there are many drawing instructors and books out there, but what I feel like I have to offer is allowing yourself to try, to keep playing. No matter how old we get, it's important to play and explore and try new things, and not compete with anybody else or seek anybody else's approval. Just enjoy the process and go for it, because it's fun, healing, life enhancing, all that. And great.
I'm just going to outline all the shell lines. And
the other thing I would think is this prehistoric looking pattern in his leg. A little bit of that in there really communicates.
mm-hmm. Just got this
Almost like big snakeskin or crocodile. Well,
scaly.
there you go. That's cool.
And he does have claws.
They can dig, and the female turtles dig holes to lay their eggs in, and then they cover them up. So they're are they claws, toenails? I'm not sure what they're called, if they're called turtle toenails.
I think they're claws.
But they are formidable. They give them the ability to dig in. The ones I've seen footage doing that, it's in sand, which is obviously easier to dig in than hard dirt. But I bet you there are turtles that dig in dirt. And
Oh yeah. You never know. I got respect for turtles. And around here we got snapping turtles. You'll just be driving on the highway and come across a big old snapper.
let's get you where they're seeing what you're drawing instead of your head.
Oops. Alright, now here's the, you don't want to mess up the eye. And this turtle, as much as I like accentuating all the claws and all that, he's got a big cute eye. It's pretty cute. It's pretty darn cute. It's not an angry eye.
No, he looks peaceful.
Hmm.
And turtles eat flowers, and we had a pet turtle, and he ate his favorite food was dandelions. So I used to pick dandelions and feed the turtle.
That's cute. Turtles are fun.
Yeah, I think that some more of these lines and some more width to these lines, and here.
When you say width,
I'm just what I'm seeing is the thickness of the yellow.
right, which I kind of didn't even really put in.
Well, you still can. I mean, you can just take any of those lines and make them another line parallel to it to make like a stripe.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make them.
What if I shade it in and then the part that I erase is the pattern?
You can do that.
Is that crazy?
No.
Is that wild? Is that a wild idea?
Not at all. An eraser can be a rendering instrument. So can your fingers. So can a smudging tool.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I just don't want to take too much of everybody's time here.
I think you're.
Going pretty fast.
I think so. Let's see what we've got as far as. Oh, it's 12:50. See, even watching someone else do creativity is amazingly meditative, and I lose track of time doing it or helping someone else, guiding someone else to do it. And so, yeah, maybe we're gonna.
We'll just put in these last few lines so that we've got a full critter, fully fleshed out form. He's kind of got an ankle back there.
Yep.
He's
kind of got it looks like a knee too. You got that in there. That's great. Good job.
All right, and then there's lots of little wrinkly flesh, and there's lots of places for one to find detail and expression and come up with their own.
All right. You want to see if there's anything to address, and then we'll.
All right, I will go into the office and leave the rest of it to you.
Shall we turn this camera back over here?
Yep.
Turn
All right.
off the
Now it's wide. I turned off the overhead.
All right, so there we go. That's how fast that can happen. And part of what I am enjoying these last number of live streams I've been doing with Bodhi is showing just how fast it can happen. And all of us think at times, and a lot of people get stuck there, that I don't have enough time. But yeah, art can happen very quickly, or we can spend a lot of time on it, and anything in between can, will, does happen. So whatever time we have, be grateful that you got it, and try to use it doing something that's happiness increasing. So there you go. Is there anything you want to add?
Moving Movie Makers on YouTube said, great work, Claire and Bodhi, I think is what they meant to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, well, it is fun to create, and it's fun to encourage each other to create and to collaborate and to support each other's creations. And the more access we have to our own imaginations and the more willingness we have to collaborate with others, the better. Every innovation in life that has made life better for us humans, and the animals we take care of, and the planet and the plants and all that, first was an idea. So let us be free to explore ideas, enjoy them, not need them to be great or perfect, just have fun doing it. So there we go. We'll be back on Thursday at noon, every Monday and Thursday. And this coming Thursday, I'm going to do some of the detailing on the Four Seasons Essence of Everything project. So you can see that. All right.
Madeline on YouTube said, woo woo, love to see you two at work.
Thank you very, very much, Madeline and Michael and the MMM and anybody and everybody else that's there now or later. And you can see all these videos later if this live stream time doesn't work for you or your friends. They go up on the Creativity Show, so check them out when you can and let us know what you think and what you want to see more of, less of, new ideas. Love to hear from you. Okay?
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day and stay creative.